Okay.
Carl, can you please introduce Seller Spy to us? What is it and how does it work?
Yeah, so can everyone hear me?
Yeah, perfect.
Great. So what Seller Spy is a software to automate storefront stalking. If you've done any sort of storefront stalking, then you've likely have a list of stores that you frequently like to check to see what sort of items they're selling. And let's just pretend for a moment that you're checking those stores once a month. So if you're checking those stores once a month, you're missing a lot of good products that seller adds to their storefront and sells out of. Now let's pretend for a moment, instead of once a month, you're checking it 3 or 4 times a week. So if you're checking it 3 or 4 times a week, now all of a sudden you're spending all this time looking through the same pages and pages of the same products just to find a few new products that they added to their store. So what Seller Spy does is fix both of those. What Seller Spy does is it allows you to add in stores for you to monitor, and it will only alert you on new stores that they're adding, and it'll alert you on the same day that they're adding that product to their store. So it reduces the amount of time you need to be spending doing all this storefront stocking, and it makes sure that you're only looking at the new products that they're adding. Additionally, all those notifications coming in, you're able to filter it out by, like, let's say brands, like let's say you're gated in Nike and Adidas, and you never want to see either of those products. Well, you just blacklist those brands, so that way you never get a notification from those brands. Well, let's say you really only want to see the electronics that are coming from that seller. Well, then you can just whitelist the category electronics, and you're only going to see those come in. And you can filter by sales rank and offer count and a couple of other things as well to sort of go ahead and narrow down the information that you're getting. And then as well, Seller Spy will monitor the stock and price of that seller's inventory. So you're able to pull like a history via a CSV of their stock level. So you're able to see, hey, this stock, they're selling out really fast. A week ago they had 100, 3 days ago they had 50, and now they only have 10. So you're able to see, like, this stock is moving for them really well at this price. And then additionally, the opposite is true. If you see that their inventory is increasing, you're going to be able to say, hey, they're replenishing this stock. They've had it in stock for the last month, but they're still adding inventory. Maybe this is something I need to look into. So that's sort of just like the high level overview of Seller Spy. It's just to automate and make storefront stocking more efficient. I don't know if you can see my screen, but I can sort of go through how it's used. Is my screen live?
Well,
Hold
yeah.
on, couple of questions, Carl.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is when the competitor adds a product to Amazon, or when it goes live on Amazon FBA, so the customer can see the product being live, at which point do you get notified that they've added a new product?
It's going to be when it's live on Amazon.com. So,
Okay.
it's typically, whenever it gets checked into FBA or whenever they add it FBM.
So the second it goes live, you get pinged about this product was then updated. But as you mentioned, you can add the filters that you just said.
Correct.
Okay. So then if it was FBM, let's say somebody was doing seasonal items for FBM. If you have a list of competitors who all do seasonal items and that FBM in it, then you could, in theory, get notified the exact same day they buy the product, right? Because they'll buy it and then put it live immediately.
Correct.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, are we going to do a run through of how it works now?
Yeah. So I just have an example set up here in Discord. So the whole Seller Spy software operates through Discord. sort of, you'll have multiple channels, one where you do all your commands, and this is how you add and view the stores that you're monitoring and adding in filters and stuff like that. And then you have what I call notification channels. You're able to organize it however you want. Some people like to set it up by VAs. Some people like to set it up by categories. I just left it as, naming it as examples, and I put one store into each of these. So you add the store very simply. It's just a single command, and you put their seller ID in there, and you tell it what channel you want the notifications to go to. And then whenever that store starts to actually add new products, this is what your notifications look like. So again, these are going to be coming in within, depending on which subscription is purchased, typically within an hour or two of when they add that product to their storefront. But this is what the notification would look like. You can click this where it's hyperlinked to the Amazon page. It gives you a lot of decent information here, like the brand and sales rank and how many offers there are. It gives you a 6-month Keepa chart for you to look at right there. And then as well, if you want to start trying to reverse source it, I've put in a couple of Google and UPC search links. So like if you click here, it's gonna Google the name for you. And the model is more for like electronics. It's gonna Google the brand name and then the model of that unit. So it's not as helpful for something like this. It's a toy, but it's really helpful for electronics. And then a UPC lookup as well, to help you sort of reverse source that item. So yeah, this is what your notifications are going to look like when that seller starts adding in items.
How many commands can you have? And let's say you have like 10, 20, 30, 40 sellers that you're tracking. How do you track all of this in a more organized way? Is it going to get a little bit spammy if you track bigger sellers?
So the organization's really up to the user on how they want to do that. I have some users that have a channel for every single seller. So, if you're signed up for the silver membership, you're allowed to stock 40 sellers. And there's some people that have 40 channels, one for each seller. Other people, like I said, they just have everything going into one, and other people separate it by VAs. But as far as it goes for larger sellers, one thing that's really important to keep in mind for this software is just like with storefront stalking, because all this is automating storefront stalking, right? So if you're trying to storefront stalk somebody that's doing private label, you're not going to find a whole lot of good online arbitrage leads. So the same is true for the software. If you put in a seller that is doing private label, you're not going to get very good online arbitrage leads. So it's sort of a crap in equals crap out scenario. So first finding those high quality sellers and then putting them into the software is important. And I find most of the stores that work really well for me aren't super large sellers. They're not sellers that have thousands of reviews. They're sellers that have, 20 to 200 reviews, and at any given time, they only have, 500 to 2,000 ASINs. So, I mean, for this example right here, this particular seller that I have, and this is just a completely random seller, HMS, the last time he added a product was 2 days ago. So and he added a few. The larger sellers, you're going to be getting a lot more notifications, yes. And sort of how you want to organize that's entirely up to you. I know some people, what they'll do is they'll just remove the message once they've checked it. So that's sort of how they go about. organizing things.
Okay. One of the questions was quickly, where does the data come from Keeper? If data comes from Keeper, there is a massive delay before Keeper gets updated with newly added listings like days.
So some of it does come from Keepa, but not all of it. And I've done extensive testing and I'm pretty confident on any sort of delay is fairly minor. Again, it depends on what subscription you have, on how fast it's being updated on my end. But from all the testing and beta users, I mean, you're getting notified same day.
Okay, so you do get no, okay, that's perfect. Which checking the same competitor every single day, figuring out what new products have got, if they've got like 10 pages of products is near impossible. And it's just so
Yeah.
much time consuming.
Yeah, so like the lowest membership and the lowest update speed offered is every 8 hours. So and it's getting a fresh full list every 8 hours. It's not like Keepa where there's a delay. I know sometimes on Keepa when you check a storefront, it may not have been updated for 2 or 3 days. So the seller spy makes sure that you're getting fresh data every 8 hours on bronze.
Okay. I heard there's like a Replan Catcher mode for it as well. Do you want to just explain what that is, please, and then maybe give us a run through?
Yeah, so Replan Catcher is a new feature for Seller Spy. There's sort of two things that it does. The one I prefer the most is this feature right here where you can do the command history. And what you can do is download the CSV. And what that CSV is oh goodness. Microsoft, come on here. What the CSV does is, all right, it's not going to let me expand the date out.
That's okay.
Sorry, I'm not signed into Excel right now. But what you'll see here is the ASIN, the quantity of stock, the price. Price isn't updated right here because this is a fairly new feature. And I didn't have the price included at that time. Shipping cost, if any, most of the time it's 0 since people are doing FBA. And then right here would be the dates. So this history file, you can get a lot of really good data from, because you'll see, this date would be, let's say 10 days ago, and then 9 days ago, 8 days ago, 7, and so on. And you're able to see sort of what their stock's doing during that time frame, what their price is doing during that time frame. And you're able to get some really good information to see like, oh, this stock, they're replenishing this, or oh, hey, this stock is selling out quick, or they're just sitting on this stock, it's not moving. There is one caveat to this, just to be completely transparent, is if that seller has like the limit on their stock, like only 5 available or whatever, it's going to just continuously show 5, even if they have more than 5 in stock. So it does not bypass that seller's quantity limits. But then another feature of the Replan Catcher, for those that don't want to have to go through that CSV, is Seller Spy on the back end is monitoring that stock count. And if it believes that the seller is replenishing an item, it's going to send a separate notification saying, hey, we think this seller is replenishing this stock. And that's just for those users that want to be a little bit more hands-off and don't want to have to go through that history file. The app is trying to do that for you a little bit and say, hey, you may want to look into this ASIN.
To clarify then, with this, we can see exactly when sellers are restocking their items, or if they're just not selling, if they just bought dead items. Does it tell you like something like maybe their buy box percentage, so you can see if they're getting the buy box but they're just not selling, or what's the issue with them not selling the product? Or do we have to investigate that ourselves?
At this time, that's something you'd have to investigate it
Yeah.
yourselves. I mean, I'm continuously making updates to this, so I kind of like that. Hey, what's their buy box percentage? That could be some useful information to have. So, I could look into adding that.
Yeah, I
It's
was
just one of
thinking
those
as well.
things. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. There's Keepa, and Keepa is very helpful for
Yeah,
for investigating some of that stuff. So,
that's true. That's true. Right. Does so the stock levels, where does that come from? Does that come from Keeper?
it does not. Keepa does not store that data. You cannot get that data from Keepa. There's a lot Keepa does, but there's a lot that Keepa does not do either. And that's sort of, kind of
Is it more accurate
proprietary where I'm getting that.
okay, that's fine. Is it more accurate than Keeper?
Uh, in what regard?
So, for example, I'm looking at the stock levels on Keeper can be a bit all over the show. Sometimes it can be accurate, but sometimes it's a bit wild.
If you're referring to the offers tab on when they're selling, I'm gonna say that this is a lot more accurate than Keepa. That Keepa's offer tab, when you're trying to look at the time, first off, you're only able to look at it when you're on that specific ASIN. So you can't have like some overarching view and look at multiple ASINs at once. You have to be on that particular product page on Amazon, and then you have to go to the Keepa offers tab, and then you're able to look at that stock count over time. Um, and we all know that
Mhm.
that stock count on that particular page is extremely inaccurate. I believe, from my testing, I have multiple sellers I'm friends with, monitor their stores, and I always, test the data, confirm data with them, that it's much more accurate than that portion of Keepa. But also in my mind, the more important thing is that I can look at it all on one CSV file rather than uh, having to go to a particular product page just to look at how their stock's done.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Um, is there anything else that you want to run through in terms of SoundSpy, or have we run through its main functions?
There's a few other things that you can do. One thing I really like, or a couple of things, there's an A to A feature where it's monitoring every single item that's added. And if it thinks that there's a potential A to A, it's going to let you know right here. And in the name, it's going to say, hey, this is a potential A to A. So every now and then when I'm looking for those, I'll just search for A to A. You can also get it set up where A to A notifications go into their own separate channel.
Is that A to A for competitors? You're checking A to A's from competitors?
No, A to A as in like, hey, we think that based off this Keepa, you could potentially buy it from Amazon and turn around and sell it on Amazon by
Oh,
purchasing
okay.
from Amazon itself, not third party.
Well, I mean, would it pick the listing from would it pick the listing from a competitor and say, hey, you can do this A to A too?
I'm not
Like,
sure
how
I
does it just
follow your. So it's monitoring and filtering through the products that the sellers you follow are adding. So, this
yeah,
one right here, we'll jump to it. This seller, AB selling, added, you know, this what is it? Self-tanning, natural looking tanning, some sort of tanning solution. And so, it's going to send its normal notification, hey, this seller added this product, but it's also going to tell you, hey, we think this is something you could buy from Amazon and sell on Amazon.
Okay.
which it looks like
If
that's
that's
true.
the case,
Amazon's
we
selling
could
it
build
around. Go ahead.
if we built a listing of A sellers, because they're pretty easy to identify from the listings they sell. You could then start tracking A sellers, and then whenever they get products, you can get potential. You get this notification too. That would be super cool.
Yeah, and I know some people that's pretty much exclusively what they do with Seller Spy. There's a lot of people that are really good at A to A. So, you're able to find a couple of those sellers and you follow them, all of a sudden you're getting some really good A to A leads.
Yeah.
So, a couple other features though. This one's going to be helpful for if you're not actively checking up on Seller Spy, or maybe you want to pull in the information somewhere else. Let's just say you want to look at all the ASINs that got notified in a particular channel in the last 2 days. So it told me, hey, there's no new ASINs in the last 48 hours for that particular channel. Let me try another one. Sorry, I only have 3 sellers going on this example, and they don't have a lot of stock. I'll do 100 hours. So yeah, what it does is it's going to tell you, it's going to give you a list of all the ASINs and give you the sales rank and the day added. This is kind of more helpful for those users that maybe want to just, instead of having to look through the notifications in this format, which I like this format, but for those users that don't, they can export it like, hey, I want to see the last 4 days worth of data or the last 2 days worth of data. And then you can upload this into something like Keepa or whatever other software that you may want to upload it into.
Perfect. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, about the price and the subscriptions. What type of subscriptions we got and price?
So there's 3 tiers. There's bronze, silver, and gold. So bronze is going to allow you to monitor 10 stores. Most users are on bronze, and I mean, 10 stores is a lot. I mean, really, you follow 2 or 3 good stores and you're gonna, get a decent amount of leads. But bronze is priced at, let's see here. Let me make sure I quote everything properly. Bronze is priced at $114 a month, which allows you 10 stores.
Is that pounds or dollars?
Dollars.
Okay. It's like £90 per month. 95 pounds a month, yeah.
Alright. Silver is at $179 a month, which allows for 40 stores. So 40 stores is quite a bit at this point. Most of the users have multiple VAs. It's not going to be your individual seller. And then there's gold. Gold's going to allow 90 stores, and gold's at $239 a month. Most of the gold users are either pretty large sellers that have multiple VAs, and then there's a couple people who like to you get your own little separate mastermind group of 3 or 4 Amazon sellers, and you share subscription cost. Gold's pretty good for that as well.
Do you have a trial?
Yes, so there is a trial. Ahmed will post a link here in the coming days. It's a $15 trial, but you use Ahmed's discount code and you'll get it for $5. The trial is a little bit limited, so with the trial, you're going to be limited to 10 stores, and you're going to be limited to having it in a particular Discord server, whereas with the actual subscription, you get to make it in whatever Discord server you want. So your existing Amazon store Discord server or a brand new Discord server, and it's completely private for you to use on that side. And as well, the Replan Catcher feature is not available to trial users just because it's one of the more valuable features of Seller Spy. And since it lets you, see stock history for, since Replan Catcher has been running, which has only been, that feature's only been running for about a month now. But I just don't think it'd be fair to the current users for trial users to get that much use out of. So
Okay, that's fine. Is the trial code ready to go live now?
the trial code is ready to go live. Yes.
Okay. Can you send that over, please, and we'll pop that into the chat.
Yeah. Give me one moment.
Perfect, thank you. Does anybody have any questions about how this works, or how you'd like to use it, or any questions about the price? Oh, how long is the trial, by the way? Did we discuss that?
We did not. It's a 14-day trial. So with the code, just $5. I'm inside the Discord, so if it's pretty easy to get up and running. I mean, won't take but a few minutes, and I'm there for questions and anything like that. So
Okay, perfect. If people want to get hold of you to ask you some questions about this software, how do they get hold of you?
Discord's probably the best way. Through my account, Bond. Let's see here. It's posted inside the Gumroad page, but let me get it. I'll send that text message.
Never use Discord, but maybe you, Gavin, could post the link or whatever you need for people to join the Discord, on the Discord or whatever.
Yeah. Can people not get hold of you on Facebook?
Yeah, I'm not going to respond as fast. I'm not an avid Facebook user, but sure, that's no problem. There's a Seller Spy page, so.
Okay, let me grab your Seller Spy page. One second. So guys, you can get hold of him here for any questions. You can also drop me or Ahmed if you have a message if you have any questions as well. Ahmed, do you have any questions yourself?
No, nothing at the moment. For me, it's quite clear.
Okay.
But if I have any question, I will reach you guys.
Okay, Carol's just sent me the promo info. I'm going to pop that into the chat as well. So this contains a specific link to Ahmed's page on Gumroad, and there's a $5 2-week trial code using the code Ahmed, and that should give you more than enough time to see exactly how the software works. Now, given the fact that you can use 10 sellers, definitely recommend using all of the sellers. So go through your list of competitors and then sign them up. I guess the thing is, it's like, you have to look at how much time this is going to save you, right? How often do you check your main competitors? And would it be useful for you to be notified on the same day of a product going live instead? Now, for me, I know that when I do competitor sourcing, I always have to try and ignore the ones that I've already seen. So having some software where I only see the new products, not the old products, is pretty good. So from my perspective, how we're going to use this is we'll do the initial competitor sourcing for an entire store. And if we find lots of good stuff, they're a good store, then we add it to this software. So then we can only see the new products and we never have to go through the entire store again. So it's going to save us quite a lot of time.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that thought process. And if you're not very familiar with storefront stalking, I would maybe wait a few days to sign up for the trial. I mean, get familiar with storefront stalking, find those stores that you're like, oh, I found a few good products from them, maybe I want to stock them. Because if you're not really familiar with storefront stalking, I feel like the software is not going to help you as much as if you're more experienced with that sourcing method to begin with. So I just want, if anyone signs up for the trial, I want them to get the full use and benefit from it. So
just two questions.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So in order to use Seller Spy, you need to have a Discord account.
yes, that's correct. And for the subscription, there's a video that goes through how to get everything set up. That's very detailed. And then for the trial as well, it goes through sort of what needs to happen. But yes, everything is ran on Discord.
And if you select 10 storefronts, can you just change them anytime?
Yep.
Okay.
So let's say we didn't like how these stores were doing. I can just take this ID right here and do delete ID.
And we have all these commands somewhere in the training, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's both videos on how to do it, and there's also documentation on doing it too.
Yeah.
So you have best of both worlds.
For the trial, just to make things a little bit easier and smoother, you're sort of just limited to adding stores, deleting stores, and viewing your list. Whereas for the full subscription, there's a different PDFs. There's a really comprehensive one that goes through all the steps with screenshots and stuff. Or if you don't want something so comprehensive and long, there's the quick start where it's just everything's on a couple pages. So, and then there's the videos as well. So plenty of support. And then my DMs are always open too.
It can be used on every single marketplace.
So it works for US, UK, and CA. So great question. Yeah.
UK, USA, and Canada.
Yep.
Okay. What about Europe? What about Germany?
At this time, there's no support for those. Maybe in the future, if there's demand for it.
Great.
At this point, there's only a few people in the UK using it. Most of the current users are US based.
Perfect. If there's no further questions, then let's look at wrapping this up. So guys, join the $5 trial. Give it your own run to see how you like it. Any questions, drop any of us a DM, and yeah, we'll always help. But thanks for joining this Facebook Live. Especially thank you to Ahmed for hosting this, and thanks to Seller Spy for showing us this piece of software.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.